Alice's World, and No Time for Heroes by Sam J. Lundwall. So this ace double is the next installment in the wife's wildcard pick. This is a little series that me and the wife are doing where she's going through the library and just picking out something that maybe I wasn't going to read in the near future. And it's been a lot of fun so far. I haven't read anything from Sam Lundwall before this. And both of these short novels came out in 1971. Alice's World here was 120 pages and has artwork by Josh Kirby. And No Time for Heroes also came out in 1971 and has artwork by Josh Kirby as well. Now, I asked her if there was one that I should read first, and she did her homework and she said, pretty sure you should read Alice's World first. And that's what I did. And if you take anything away from this video, I would highly recommend reading Alice's World first. Not only was it a lot better of a story, but it kind of set the framework for this kind of universe. And in the other one, No Time for Heroes, they kind of reference some things that happen in Alice's World. And I didn't like No Time for Heroes quite as much. There was a lot of satire and humor that kind of got old, even though it was only like 130 pages. And so let's just kind of get into what both of these are about. So in Alice's World, you can see here it says Terra through the science fiction looking glass. So we have a lot of references to Alice in Wonderland. We even have a picture of her on the cover there. And when this starts out, this short novel here, we're 50,000 years in the future after humanity had left the planet Earth, and they had spread out over the galaxy. There was some drama going on. We had the Confederation and the Empire. And throughout these years, they had kind of forgot where they came from. They had heard of this mythical place called Earth, but no one was quite sure. This is a trope, of course, that I believe Asimov invented in some of his Foundation stories. And we have a spaceship who was on a mission to try to find Earth, and they do come across Earth. And what they find here is a abandoned planet with some interesting things happening on it. We have some central intelligence that's still active, and they start noticing these things manifesting right in front of their eyes and then disappearing. And the crew of our ship think that they're hallucinating, but they realize that their ship's computers are noticing these same things. So it's very perplexing to them if these are really hallucinations or if this world is in some different state of reality, or they're not sure what's going on with it. So they send a scout ship down. Something happens to the two people on that ship. And our captain, whose name is Montelier, he decides that he's not going to risk his crew anymore. So he grabs someone, and they're going to go down to the planet and try to sort this out and hopefully find the two people that kind of got waylaid down there on the planet. So they find all kinds of interesting things. They realize that there is a central intelligence running this planet. It's kind of left with what humanity had programmed it, or what it thought humanity wanted. So it's kind of created a lot of fairy tale and myth and all these unique aspects to the planet. It's hard to understand if these things are real or not in this world. And our characters are kind of going through this adventure to try to figure out what's going on and to get at the root of this planet. Now, the central intelligence, it's kind of interesting. They talk about, humanity just trashing the Earth and leaving, and now they want to just come back and take it over. So there's a little animosity here. There's a reason for the AI to not want them there. And it was a really fun, I think, well-written story. There's a lot of nod to mythology, fairy tales. Some of the myth was Scandinavian-based myths, which was interesting since Lundwall was from Sweden. And there was some nods also to science fiction in general. So it's a very entertaining story. very quick read. Had a good ending. I wouldn't say it was anything that blew my mind, but if you're looking for some short read that's just kind of fun and entertaining, I could definitely recommend this. It almost reminded me of some of the Clifford Simak books that I've read recently, where he kind of blends myth and fairy tale into science fiction. Now, the next one, No Time for Heroes, we have the same basic premise, but instead of 50,000 years after humanity left Earth, we're 200,000 years in the future. And a ship comes, and they have slightly different, different motivations than our first crew that was in Alice's world. These guys are more of like on a military mission, and we have General Superhawk and we have Colonel Ironjaw, and they approach this planet. They're a bit xenophobic. They're not sure what's going on. They send a scout ship out. The scout ship gets vaporized, so it definitely puts their hackles up, and they're going to approach this a little bit more cautiously. So what do? They take our main character, Bernhard, and they just kind of volunteer him to go down to the surface of the planet and investigate and see what's going on here. Now, Bernhard, he doesn't really care about this mission. He realizes he has no choice but to go down here, and he's really just kind of looking out for his own skin as much as, trying to follow the orders that he's been given. And so he's kind of thrown through the ringer on this planet. He's got the same kind of things happening to him. There's fairy tale and myth and a lot of hoops he has to jump through to try to get his way out of this one. It was pretty funny in the beginning. There's a lot of satire, especially around the advertising agencies and capitalism and things like this, because it seems like this AI that's left on this planet is still trying to sell him something. It's like after 200,000 years, they didn't have a consumer, and one finally shows up, and they're kind of scrambling to sell him something. But the jokes kind of got old pretty quick for me, and I kind of just slogged a bit through the end. It's very absurd. It's very over the top. All of our characters are over the top. And it didn't have quite as satisfying of an ending for me either. And so it's not one that I would really recommend, maybe, unless you're really into kind of over-the-top, humorous science fiction. But if you do read Alice's World and you like that enough, you might want to give No Time for Heroes a shot. It's also very short, and you could plow through it probably pretty quick. But so that's it for that one. I'm glad I read this. I'm going to be looking for some more Sam Lundwall in the future, because if some of his stuff is more like Alice's World, it's definitely something I'd be into. And so then my wife went through the library. She picked out the next one in the wife's wildcard pick. And a while back, Richard Rempel from Vintage SF he visited me in person. We had him at the house here, and we did an in-person trade, and my wife picked out a book that I got from Richard in that trade. It's The Universe Against Her by James H. Schmidt, and this is, I believe, the first book in the Telsey universe. I know Richard's talked highly of this one. I know Matt has talked this series up a lot, and I know a bunch of other viewers have mentioned it too, so I'm really excited to read this one. Just look for that one coming out in the next month or so. And that's going to do it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.